Hey guys, in this video I'll be making a trophy skull of a harpy from the video game called Witcher, using papermache and air dry clay. I have here a plastic skull that I will use as a mold, by first wrapping it up with some plastic foil, to then glue my papermache onto it in 3 layers along with some toilet paper. Once that has dried, I use a hobby knife to free the skull from its paper prison. I fix the damage with some masking tape and more toilet paper. Now with that being done, it's now time to make the jaws. To make the base, I use a paper that is normally used to be painted on with watercolors because of its sturdiness. At first I roughly measure my skull to know how big the beak needs to be and counted pieces on the harpy of my print. Then I cut it out and stick it on the remaining piece of paper to make it a little bit more stronger because I will add clay to it and was afraid that it might lose its shape. After that I stick it onto my paper skull after making some small adjustments and cover it with some more toilet paper. So now it's time to add the clay. I use air dry clay from Fimo and start with the beak first. Then after that I will roll a ball to make the eyeball and then simply add layers over layers to make the eyelets and skin folds. Now it's time to add rope, and the rope that I have is too small to make it look strong enough to be able to hold a monster's head. So I cut 3 pieces of it and twist it together and use textile glue to make sure they don't unravel again. And while that is drying, I will add some more toilet paper over the skin of my monster to make the speckling paste stick better on it and to hide the cracks and imperfections. The speckling paste that I used is a powder form that you have to mix with some water, but I will add a lot of white PVA glue and white gesso in it to make it a lot more flexible and far less brittle. Once that has completely dried, it is now time to finally paint her. For the base layer I use a watered down yellow, and over that I use a mix of brown and orange to try and make it look like a more realistic skin color, by first painting it between the skin folds and then spray it with some water to then wipe it away so I don't lose the yellow underneath. I repeat this progress a couple of times. I will admit that I think I went a little too overboard with the brown and orange paint, but I decided to leave it be and use some yellow mixed with white to go over the eyeballs and the beak. And sadly off camera I added black pupils to the eyes and then dry brushed some white paint over it to give the eyes a dead stare. Now it's time to add rope. Unfortunately I dipped my rope in a cup of water, mixed with brown and red paint a little too soon because the glue was not completely dried. The twist sadly came undone in some places, but luckily it's still sticking together and it doesn't really look that bad. So I stick it first behind the beak and then try my very best to mimic what I see on the picture and keep it in place with some glue or a hot glue gun. So the rope is in place and it's now time for the final touches. Here I am using a high gloss varnish for the eyes and beak, and then I use a matte spray varnish to go over the whole head to give it some protection. And after that has finally dried, it is now finally finished. I have to say that I'm really proud of this project, for I was unsure if I would be able to make it, and I'm glad that it did work out in the end. I wish I had enough time to make 3 of them, but sadly there are not enough hours within the weekends. But anyway, I hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please consider sticking around for the next one. Until then.